You know how it is, right? You set a big goal for the year, you've got it all planned out, and then, boom. Some surprise obsession just completely takes over. Well, that's exactly what happened to this one reader in his 2025 reading challenge. We're diving into his story, which he shared on his personal blog. It's all about how a simple plan ran into this totally unexpected page-turning detour. And honestly, it teaches a pretty powerful lesson about what success really means. So at the start of the year, the mission was super clear, super simple. Read 25 books. That's it. A nice, solid, totally achievable number, especially for someone who's already in the habit of reading. But, of course, fast forward to the end of December, and the final count landed right here. 22 books, so just 3 books short of the target. The big question is, what happened? And this right here is the central question of his whole experience, isn't it? I mean, do you call this a failure just because a number wasn't hit? Or was there something, I don't know, more valuable gained along the way? All right, let's unpack this. Okay, so first, let's get some context here. This wasn't just some random New Year's resolution he was going to forget by February. Nope, 2025 was actually his 7th year in a row tracking his reading on Goodreads. So yeah, this was a serious, well-established habit. And he didn't just go into the year aimlessly either. He had a specific focus, a game plan. He wanted to continue his deep dive into nonfiction. He's really driven by this desire to understand the huge events that have shaped our world. Yeah, his digital bookshelf was usually packed with these kinds of heavy hitters. He actually puts it perfectly himself. He says, big events shape the world. I want to understand how and why they happened. So you see, the plan was structured, it was thoughtful, and, well, it was about to get completely blown up. Okay, and this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. Believe it or not, a single TV show managed to completely derail his carefully laid out nonfiction plan. It literally redefined his entire reading year. Here's how he put it in his own words. It's great. Then Mick Herron crashed my plans, just like that. One author, one fictional universe, and poof, the plan was suddenly out the window. And it all started so innocently, you know. He watched the first season of this spy show, Slough House, and just got completely hooked. So, naturally, he picked up the first book, then the next. And pretty soon, he wasn't just reading a series, he was absolutely devouring the entire Slough House universe. We're talking novels, novellas, everything he could possibly get his hands on. But here's what's really interesting to me. He didn't just toss his original goal out completely. Not at all. The year ended up being this fascinating balancing act, this blend of his new fiction obsession and his long-standing passion for nonfiction history. I mean, look at this. This perfectly captures the two extremes of his year. On one hand, you've got this absolute beast of a book, an 832-page deep dive into Watergate. And on the other, a super quick, razor-sharp 28-page spy novella. That incredible range, wow, that's what his year is all about. So, with this crazy mix of planned reading and totally spontaneous binging, what did the final numbers actually look like? Because, the data here tells a really fascinating story all on its own. First off, let's just talk about pages. Forget the book count for a second. He read almost 8,300 pages. I mean, that is a massive amount of reading by any measure. It just goes to show how much consistent time he was spending with books. Okay, so here's that gap again. The goal was 25, he ended up at 22. It looks like a small shortfall, right? Just on the surface. But wait till you see this next slide. This is where the real story becomes crystal clear. Just look at this. A whopping 68% of his entire reading year was dedicated to that one unplanned detour into Mick Herron's spy world. It's incredible. That one TV show led to one author just completely taking over his year. And you know what? Through all of this, his average rating for the books he read was a solid 4 out of 5 stars. And that's the crucial part, isn't it? Whether it was the planned history or the spontaneous spy stuff, he was consistently picking books he genuinely enjoyed. That's how you keep the habit going. Which, of course, brings us all the way back to that original question. Okay, so he missed the number, but everything else points to a year just filled with enjoyment and engagement. So what was his final verdict? How did he see it? So, did the year even matter? Did he feel like it was a success even though he fell short? His answer? A big, emphatic yes. For him, the value was never about hitting the number 25. It was about building consistency. It was about loving the stories he was reading. And it was about everything he learned from the history.
And really, this is the ultimate takeaway from his whole experience. The real win had nothing to do with a number on a Goodreads challenge. It was all about cementing that steady, nightly reading habit, that ritual of opening a book before bed that just makes the day feel complete.
I just love this perspective. He actually started a 23rd book, but didn't finish it in time for the clock to strike midnight. But instead of seeing that as a failure, he saw it as the start of his 2026 challenge. Reading should continue, not just reset. It's a continuous journey, not a bunch of separate yearly sprints. And that really leaves us with a final thought for you. We can all set our goals, right? We can make our plans. But sometimes the most rewarding, most memorable experiences are the ones we never, ever see coming. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What amazing surprise is waiting to shape your next journey?